We were due to have prayers from the Reverend Sam McGuinness, but doesn't seem to be happening. So if you'd like to sit down, I'll just go through the housekeeping notes. Okay, you note the exit, the far exit over there. Can you make sure that your mobile phones and other devices are switched to silent? The meeting is being live streamed and audio recording is being made. Please switch your microphone on when addressing the council and off when you have finished. In relation to any points of order, members will need to indicate first the rule and second the way that it's been broken, as is required by the Constitution. This will enable me to rule accordingly. Could I ask members to be mindful of your comments this evening, as we are in a pre-election period for the St Leonard's Division of West Sussex County Council, and therefore I won't tolerate any political commentary during this time. And can I remind members to talk to the point, and Cabinet members to ensure that their announcements are just announcements. Thank you. We have a long list of apologies, I'm afraid. James Brooks, Leonard Brown, Claudia Fisher, Anthony Franklin, Nick Grant, Cassia Greenwood, Joanne Knowles, who's actually representing the council at a Volunteers Award this evening, Alan Manton, John Olson, Claire Vickers, Tricia Utan and Cheryl Sweeney. Any more? No? Good. Move on to the minutes of the previous meeting. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of April be approved as a correct record. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Jeffrey, thank you. Does anyone wish to comment on the accuracy of the minutes? I all agree that I may sign the minutes as a correct record. Thank you. Does any member have any interest to declare in respect of any item on today's agenda? Thank you. Announcements. Apologies for the sort of way that this meeting has sort of moved around the country and around the clock. This is because of a planning hearing which required our PA system. So we've had to move the time, and because of that, we couldn't really use Henfield. However, the next council meeting will be outside of Horsham. It will be in Stenning on the 16th of July. Thank you. I'd also like to note the passing of Peter Malarkey, who was a councillor in the early 2000s. In fact, he was one of my colleagues on what was then Riverside Ward. He served for about 8 years. He was a history graduate and did his national service in the Royal Artillery, where he worked on German rebuilding after the Second World War. He then went on to teach, and he taught in Switzerland, in Colombia, and then came back to the UK to teach. After he retired, he went and joined VSO and taught in China for a few years, and he was very proud to bring back a Chinese bicycle when he actually did finally retire from teaching. And he was a good friend of this council and a good friend of mine, and I miss him a lot. Leader announcements.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Two brief announcements. Obviously, all members are aware that sadly we lost our friend Liz Kitchen earlier this year. One of her roles for the council for some years was being our representative on GATCOM, and obviously that role needs to be filled. So I'm pleased to announce that Councillor Nigel Emery is going to be the council's representative on GATCOM going forward. Secondly, as the result of our chairman's elevation to the dais. Councillor Bevis is unable to continue serving this year as the council's representative on the West Sussex County Council Health and Adult Social Care Committee. So I'm pleased to announce that Councillor Belinda Walters has agreed to fulfil that role for this civic year. So those are the two appointments I have to announce, and wish them both best of luck with that. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Boffey. Are there any Cabinet member announcements?
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, councillors. Horsham District Council and Chichester District Council have joined forces to provide free online access to their residents to a retrofitting advice tool called Plan Builder. Following collaboration with solution provider Parity Projects, residents will be able to search for energy saving measures for their own specific home. The information is accessible via links on both councils' websites and will allow people to assess the costs and benefits of energy and carbon efficient home improvements, all within their own self-defined budget. Plan Builder will give residents a trustworthy route to reducing their utility bills, and it will help to tackle climate change too. Partnering with another local authority and providing practical, trustworthy retrofit advice to residents aligns with Horsham District Council's climate action strategy, as well as the Council's continued intention to support residents during this ongoing cost of living crisis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other Cabinet announcements? Thank you. Recommendations from Cabinet. Highwood Community Venue. I'll hand over to Councillor Jonathan Taylor to introduce this report and move the recommendations.
Before I provide detail on this item, I propose an amendment to the recommendations approved at the Cabinet meeting held on the 21st of May. Cabinet resolved to approve the removal of the existing budget of 1.75 million. However, due to expenditure on the project in 2022, this amount should have read 1.72 million. Therefore, with the meeting's consent, I propose that the recommendation 1 on page 9 of the agenda is altered to read, to remove the existing 1.72 million capital budget from the 2022 Highwood scheme and instead approve a capital budget of 0.15 million in 2025-26 to carry out the installation of physical security elements and the building of temporary car parking for 12 cars. Further, to approve a revenue budget of 0.2 million in 25-26 for the contracting of a building designer to take up a design to REBA Stage 4. By way of background, as part of the planning process, land was secured from the developers Berkeley Homes to build a community facility. This was at the time when the drill hall was not going to be available for community use. In 2022, a scheme was designed for a community hall, toilet facilities, car park, and a separate building for a nursery. When the design was priced, estimated costs exceeded approved budgets, and along with the nursery provider deciding the project was no longer viable for them, the project stalled. Since then, the situation has changed, with the drill hall remaining available for community use, thereby giving the Highwood residents some access to other community facilities. The residential development is now well established, and Berkeley Homes have finished building 2 7-a-side football pitches, a multi-use games area and a playground. They are currently fenced off from use, which some local residents consider as a security issue as they can't see behind the 5 fences. To use the pitches for official use by girls' football teams, changing rooms and toilets are required. We are now considering a much smaller and less expensive scheme than 2022, and one that is fit for purpose in the current market. If a community hall is built, the consultation feedback advised us that it would be used firstly for low impact exercise and well-being, secondly for social gatherings, and thirdly for arts and creative workshops. Comments made in the Cabinet meeting supported a moderate size hall that accommodated these use only, but consideration will also be given to an option of toilets and changing rooms only. Concerns were also raised by residents about the increase in traffic to the area and the current scarcity of car parking. The amended recommendations are supported to take this project forward to the next stage of design. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, councillor. If any member doesn't consent to councillor Taylor's proposing an altered recommendation, could you speak now, please?
Sorry, Chairman, can I come in for a second? Can we just check the numbers in the recommendation? Because I think that you referred to 1.72 as opposed to 2.72. Just to make sure that we get the figures correct for the proposal.
So you say 2.75, 2.72?
I think you
Okay.
said 1.75 to
I did,
1.72.
because that's what it says in front of me.
That's
Correction,
good. So it should be 2.72.
2.72.
So the meeting consent.
Hmm?
That's the meeting
Wait.
consent.
So we have consent that we move forward on that recommendation. Can I have a seconder for the recommendation as it now is? Ruth. Thank you, councillor Fletcher. Right, I will now open the floor to debate on this amended proposal. Anyone wish to comment? Does the seconder wish to speak?
I think the lack of further debate from the floor probably suggests that this was adequately covered previously at Cabinet.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to say anything further? I will now put this to the vote. All those in favour of approving the recommendation as amended, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion is carried. Recommendations from committees. We have recommendations from the two policy and scrutiny committees. Each committee has recommended the 24-25 annual report from their particular committee and their respective work programmes for noting. I will therefore hand over to Councillor Paul Taylor for the Scrutiny Committee of Finance and Performance.
Thank you, Chairman. It's Paul Clark, actually. Fine. The annual report is, because it's in the Constitution, and basically covers all the work that the Overall Scrutiny Committee did during the 24-25 municipal year. It was an interesting programme, and I hope the members enjoyed doing it. And I'd like to use this venue to thank the officers, not only for managing the process, but also participating in the task and finish groups. And I'd also like to thank the members of the committee who participated in task and finish groups, because without them, it would not have been possible to do the work. Also, we are moving to a new model from a single committee to two committees. So essentially, each committee has got a work programme. So I would suggest, Chairman, that we take the recommendations from both committees together in terms of the work programme and do it all in one lump, if I can put it that way. So I would propose to the council the work programme for the finance and performance, and also the annual meeting, the annual report of the Overall Scrutiny Committee from last year, and also take the opportunity to also do the programme for the Communities and Place Committee as proposer.
Councillor Finnegan, do you wish to say anything about your work programme?
Am I seconding at the moment, or am I just talking about?
Seconding.
Yes, happy to second, thank you. I found the annual report very interesting. In particular, I noted the depth, breadth and volume of the work involved in the last municipal year. So thanks goes to Councillor Clark, and has already been mentioned, the committee members, the task and finish groups, and of course the officers. Regarding the Communities in Place Policy and Scrutiny Committee work programme for the municipal year 25-26, we already have some interesting topics to get stuck into, such as the governance arrangements for Better Billingshurst infrastructure, community asset transfer policy, and a new task and finish group. So I look forward to presenting a full and detailed annual report to this committee next year.
Thank you, Councillor. Does anyone wish to say anything about these two reports? Councillor Boffey, sorry.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I just don't know whether it's normal to do this, but just as leader, I want to thank very much the members of last year's Overview and Scrutiny Committee, the officers who have supported them, and indeed also the other members of the council who have served on task and finish groups. I think there's been some really, really strong, solid work done over the last year, and I think these are examples of what, you know, sometimes they'll be the most exciting, sometimes they won't, but I think this is examples of the council's work at its best, really. You know, really coming together and putting shared endeavour to actually investigate things and also solve problems or make suggestions. I'm also looking forward to seeing how the new two committee model works going forward, because you know one of the key aspects obviously of the scrutiny's role is to hold the executive account and keep us in check and make sure we're doing our jobs properly. People might not believe me, but I firmly believe in that, and I think it's incredibly important. But I also think that there are great opportunities here for involving more members in the scrutiny process by having the two committees. I'm really excited to see what work they can do together as they put shoulders to the wheel, and I think it will be very beneficial to the council as a whole. So thank you very much, and best of luck for next year with your programmes.
Thank you, Councillor Boffey. Anybody else want to make any comments? Councillor Clark, is there anything you want to respond to?
I'd just like to thank the leader for his kind words, and with the state of my throat, I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Now, this item's for noting. I all agreed to note the annual report and the work programmes. Thank you. Chairman and Vice Chairman of Unparished Committee. Due to administrative oversight, the Chair and Vice Chair of the Unparished Area Committee were not appointed at the annual meeting. As a result, I will now ask for nominations for the Chair of the Unparished Committee. Councillor Mercer.
I'd like to propose Councillor John Olsen for Chair.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Minto, thank you. Are you all agreed to that proposal? Thank you. And can I have nominations for the Vice Chair of the Unparished Area? Again, Councillor Mercer.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Tony Frankland.
Okay. Councillor Noel.
Thank you, Chair. Just as a matter of maintaining political balance, I would also like to propose an alternative to Vice Chair, and that would be Councillor Sweeney.
Thank you. Do you? Can I take seconders? So, seconder to Councillor Mercer's proposal, Councillor Minto, and to Councillor Noel. Councillor Clark, thank you. Right. Okay, so can I have a show of hands for all those in favour of Councillor Franklin? Thank you. And Councillor Sweeney? Now, Councillor Franklin is duly elected to Vice Chairman of that committee.
All right, Chairman, on a point of order, you did not ask for abstentions.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Were there any abstentions? I do apologise. Can we record 3 abstentions to that vote? Does any member who represents the council on an outside body wish to make a report? Councillor Greech.
That's okay. I represent the council on the South Downs National Park Authority. When I was there last, we were all given these little cards to distribute because they've got a partnership management plan in public consultation at the moment. These cards have got a QR code. The reason that we were given these is to encourage people to comment on their partnership management plan. Unfortunately, I've tried the QR code and I cannot find the consultation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the relevant person at the South Downs National Park Authority to clarify what's going on. And when I find out what's going on and hopefully where the consultation is, I will send an email to everybody and say where they can find the consultation documents. Is that all right? I'm sorry about that, but I have no idea what's going on here.
Well, thank you for that somewhat disappointing report.
But the partnership management plan is very important to the South Downs National Park
yes.
Authority. It's they have to do one, and it will go from I think it's 2026 to 2031. It's 5 years.
Okay,
It's an
so
important document for them.
we encourage members to look out for that email and
I will do it.
make a
honestly.
response.
I will.
Thank you. Councillor Emery.
Thank you, Chairman. As just pointed out by Councillor Boffey, I was recently appointed to represent the council on GATCOM. I have sent an email out to you with a written report about a couple of hours ago. Please do come back to me with your comments on the report. If there's anything that I've gone into too much detail in or not enough, please do let me know so that future reports can be tailored to your requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other representatives? No? Okay. Members' questions on notice. We've got 2 members' questions. The first one from Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is, does Horsham District Council plan to join into the British Car Parking Association app, which seemingly might be rolled out across the country according to the Times?
Councillor Bain.
Yes, I'd like to thank Councillor Clark for the question. I know he takes a keen interest in all things parking. To answer directly, we have no immediate plans to join the National Parking Platform, which has been promoted by the British Parking Association, as we continue to monitor its development and assess the implications for local service delivery. Whether it will evolve into the one app to rule them all is not clear at the moment, and only a small number of local authorities have adopted it so far. However, we remain engaged through industry forums and ongoing dialogue with key providers, and we will review our position as the platform evolves.
Councillor Clark, do you wish to add a supplementary question?
No, I have no supplementary question. Just a word of thanks to Rob Leet, because the email he sent me gave me a very extensive background which answered all the other questions I might have asked. But there's no point in asking them now.
Right, okay. Okay, we'll move on to Councillor Croker's question. And Councillor Croker.
Thank you, Chair. My question is directed at the Cabinet Member for Planning and Infrastructure. At the recent, very welcome members' briefing by the Head of Strategic Planning on the Sussex North Offsetting Water Scheme, which we all know as SNOWS, it was stated that each month applications will be prioritised for SNOWS access based on agreed criteria. I also note that the December 2022 Part C Mitigation Strategy report stated that LPA monitoring of growth, both permissions and completions, on a monthly basis and reporting on a yearly basis will also be key to ensure sufficient offsetting is in place prior to occupation of development. So my question is, in order to reassure residents concerned about SNOW's fidelity, does the Cabinet Member agree with me that this monitoring should also show the water credits to the scheme, as well as the detailed debit commitments, ideally as monthly publicly accessible reports? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Croker. Councillor Fletcher.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Croker. I'm pleased to hear that you found the recent member briefing on SNOWS useful, and we'll endeavour to continue to brief members as things change. As part of the monthly prioritisation of planning applications, the available capacity for SNOWS to accommodate new development will need to be reviewed to ensure that the scheme does not over-allocate development if insufficient capacity is available to unlock growth. In this way, growth will be monitored monthly. All councils within the SNOWS scheme monitor housing and other development completions on an annual basis as part of the monitoring process. This completions data is not available on a monthly basis. However, it's not necessary for SNOWS to monitor completions, as the scheme allocates water saving capacity prior to commencement of the development through a discharge of the water neutrality planning condition. This provides certainty that the water is available. The SNOWS monitoring and reporting plan has been produced in collaboration with the Sussex authorities impacted by water neutrality. Those are Horsham District Council, Crawley Borough Council, Chichester District Council, Mid Sussex District Council, South Downs National Park and West Sussex County Councils. Also Natural England, Southern Water, the Environment Agency and DEFRA. This sets out that SNOWS will report quarterly and annually through the existing governance structure, with ongoing cross-local authority monitoring and support provided through the monthly Water Neutrality Development Management Group. Reporting to the public will be included as part of HDC's annual authority monitoring report. This is consistent with other forms of reporting on planning matters and strikes the necessary balance between ensuring there are sufficient resources to operate the scheme and ensure that it's transparent.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. Councillor Croker, do you wish to ask a supplementary question?
No, I don't think I do, Chair. And I thank the member, the Cabinet Member, for her answer there. And look forward to seeing these reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Croker. Right. There's no urgent business. At least there wasn't when I came in. So, at exactly 7 o'clock, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you for your attention.